The fluorescent lights of Memorial Hospital's ICU buzzed overhead as I studied my father's medical chart. My sister Karen's voice cut through the quiet beeping of monitors, sharp and dismissive as always. "Look, just explain everything to me," she told Dr. Martinez, deliberately turning her back to me. "I'm the one making decisions here. My sister can barely understand basic biology." I continued reviewing the charts silently, noting Dad's deteriorating kidney function. After his stroke 3 days ago, the complications were mounting rapidly. The latest blood work wasn't encouraging. "She works in the hospital gift shop or something," Karen added with a wave of her manicured hand. "Couldn't handle anything more complicated than selling teddy bears." Dr. Martinez shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting between us. I'd never worked directly with him, as he was new to the neurology department, but his discomfort was evident. "Perhaps we should discuss all treatment options as a family," he suggested diplomatically. "No need," Karen interrupted. "I have power of attorney. Mom gave it to me before she passed, because, well," she gestured vaguely in my direction. "We need someone competent making these decisions." I made another note on the chart about the latest creatinine levels. They were concerning. "But your sister does work at the hospital, Doctor," Martinez pointed out carefully. "She might have useful insight." "Please," Karen scoffed. "Selling flowers and magazines doesn't qualify her to understand brain trauma. I've got this handled. Now about these treatment options." The door opened and Lisa, one of our senior nurses, entered. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Dr. Rob, I just need to check the patient's vitals," she stammered, catching herself. "Go ahead," I said quietly, stepping aside. Karen didn't even notice the exchange, too busy explaining her extensive medical knowledge gained from Google searches. "I've been researching stroke treatments online," she was telling Dr. Martinez. "And I think we should try this experimental therapy I read about on Facebook." The door burst open again, this time revealing Dr. William Chen, CEO of Memorial Hospital, his normally calm demeanor replaced by urgent intensity. "Dr. Roberts, your surgical team is ready in OR3, he announced. "We need your expertise on this critical case immediately." Karen whirled around. "Who are you talking to, Doctor?" Chen looked confused for a moment, then understanding dawned on his face as he took in the scene. "I'm addressing Dr. Sarah Roberts," he said, gesturing to me. "Our chief of neurosurgery." The silence that followed was absolute. Even the monitors seemed to quiet down. That's impossible," Karen whispered. "She works in the gift shop." "The gift shop?" Dr. Chen looked bewildered. "Dr. Roberts is one of the most renowned neurosurgeons on the East Coast. She pioneered the minimal invasion technique we use for stroke intervention. Half our surgical department trained under her." Karen's face had gone pale. But she never said." "You never asked," I replied, finally looking up from Dad's chart. "You were too busy telling everyone how incompetent I was." "I don't understand," she sputtered. "Why didn't you correct me? Why let me think?" "Because Dad's condition is more important than your ego," I cut in. "And speaking of which," I turned to Dr. Chen, "we need to bump my father's surgery to this morning. His latest labs show increasing pressure on the brain stem. If we wait longer, we risk permanent damage." "Of course, doctor. I'll have them prep another OR immediately," Dr. Chen replied. "All business now." "Wait, surgery? What surgery?" Karen's voice had lost its earlier authority. "I have power of attorney. You can't make these decisions." "Actually, doctor," Martinez interjected, "hospital policy requires all major neurological surgeries to be approved by the chief of neurosurgery, which means Dr. Roberts has final say on all such procedures, regardless of power of attorney." I handed the chart to Lisa. "Prep him for surgery. Standard protocol for stroke intervention. But I want extra monitoring on those kidney values." "Right away, doctor," Lisa replied, efficiently setting things in motion. Karen grabbed my arm as I turned to leave. "Sarah, wait. How are you? When did you become a doctor?" "I've been chief of neurosurgery for 3 years," I said, gently removing her hand. "Before that I was assistant chief for 2 years, and a practicing neurosurgeon for 5 years before that. Not that you ever bothered to ask. But at all those family gatherings, when everyone talked about your hospital job, I had more important things to focus on than correcting your assumptions," I replied. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to save our father's life. I headed for the door, then paused. Oh, and Karen, that experimental treatment you read about on Facebook. I developed it. There's a plaque with my name on it in the hospital lobby, right next to the gift shop you thought I worked in. The surgical prep room buzzed with focused energy as I scrubbed in, my mind already mapping out the delicate procedure ahead. Karen's voice interrupted my concentration. You can't do this, she declared, bursting through the doors against protocol. I won't let you operate on Dad. I continued methodically scrubbing my hands, not bothering to look up. You're not allowed in here, Karen. This is a sterile environment. I'll sue. I'll report you to the medical board. Her voice cracked with hysteria. You're probably not even a real doctor. Doctor. Chen appeared behind her, looking apologetic. Dr. Roberts, I'm sorry for the interruption. Security is on their way. That won't be necessary, I said, drying my hands. Karen, look at the wall behind you. She turned to face the long corridor of framed certificates and awards. Front and center was my Harvard Medical School diploma, flanked by my board certifications and surgical fellowships. Below them hung a series of framed magazine covers, all featuring my innovations in neurosurgery. Top 40, under 40 doctors. She read aloud, her voice small. Revolutionary brain surgery technique, saves hundreds. Dr. Sarah Roberts. The future of neuroscience. Your sister has the highest success rate for complex neurological procedures in the country, Dr. Chen added. We built our entire stroke center around her expertise. Karen's legs seemed to give out, and she sank onto a nearby bench. I don't understand. All these years, why did you let us think? Because proving you wrong wasn't my priority, I replied, adjusting my surgical cap. Saving lives was. A nurse poked her head in. Dr. Roberts, your father's prepped and ready. I nodded. Tell the team I'll be there in 2 minutes. Karen stood shakily. How can I trust you to do this? You've been lying to us for years. I never lied, I corrected her. You created a narrative about my life, and I simply didn't waste energy correcting it. I was too busy becoming one of the best neurosurgeons in the country. But, Karen, listen carefully, I interrupted. Dad has a growing hematoma pressing on his brain stem. Without immediate surgery, he'll suffer permanent damage or death. I'm not operating on him as your sister. I'm operating as the most qualified surgeon to save his life. She's right, Dr. Chen interjected. If it were my family member, Dr. Roberts is who I'd want performing the surgery. Karen wrapped her arms around herself, looking lost. All those times I told people you were a disappointment, that you couldn't handle a real career. Yes, like at Mom's funeral last year, I said calmly, putting on my surgical gloves. When you told everyone I couldn't afford a proper dress on my gift shop salary, I was actually wearing scrubs, because I'd just finished a 12-hour surgery, saving a child's life. She flinched. Sarah, I'm so sorry. Your apology isn't relevant right now, I stated. What's relevant is that our father needs emergency brain surgery, and I'm the best person to perform it. So you have 2 choices: continue this drama and waste precious time, or let me do my job. The security guards finally arrived, looking uncertain. I waved them off. Karen is leaving voluntarily, I said. Aren't you, Karen? She nodded slowly, tears streaming down her face. Can you really save him? I've performed this exact procedure 387 times, with a 98% success rate, I replied. The national average is 82%. Those are the only numbers that matter right now. Dr. Roberts, the nurse called again. We need to begin. Show my sister to the waiting room, I instructed the guards. And Karen, the next time you want to know what someone does for a living, try asking them directly instead of making assumptions. As they led her away, Dr. Chen touched my arm. That must have been difficult. All these years, I shrugged, adjusting my surgical mask. Less difficult than brain surgery. Speaking of which, I need to focus now. He nodded, understanding. Of course, though I have to ask, why did you never mention this situation to me? We've worked together for years. Because being underestimated by my family didn't affect my ability to save lives, I replied. And that's all that matters in this hospital. I pushed through the OR doors, where my surgical team waited, Here in this sterile sanctuary of science and skill, family drama had no place. Here I wasn't Karen's disappointing sister or the family failure. Here I was simply Dr. Roberts, and I had a life to save. 6 hours later, I stepped out of the OR. The surgery successful but exhausting. Every millimeter had mattered as I navigated through Dad's brain, removing the hematoma and repairing damaged vessels. My team had performed flawlessly, as always. In the surgical waiting room, Karen sat hunched over her phone. When she looked up, her makeup was completely gone, replaced by dark circles under her eyes. "Dad's stable," I announced professionally. The surgery was successful. We removed the hematoma and relieved the pressure on his brain stem. The next 24 hours will be critical, but I expect a full recovery. She stood shakily. "Can I see him?" "He's in post-op recovery. You can see him briefly in about an hour." Karen nodded, then gestured to her phone. "I've been researching you online. There are hundreds of articles about your work, medical journals, news features, videos of you teaching at conferences. Yes, you received the Presidential Medal of Excellence in Medicine last year," she whispered. "You were at the White House. I remember seeing that ceremony on TV and thinking that doctor has the same name as my sister." She laughed bitterly. "It actually was my sister. It was. And that time you couldn't make it to my son's birthday party because you were working." "I was performing emergency surgery on conjoined twins," I confirmed. "The procedure made national news." Karen sank back into her chair. "I told everyone you were probably just restocking gift shop shelves. I remember. God, I was so horrible to you," she whispered. "All these years, while you were literally saving lives." My pager buzzed. Another emergency consult. But before I could leave, Karen grabbed my hand. "Why?" she asked, her voice breaking. "Why did you let me treat you that way? Let the whole family look down on you? You're this incredible surgeon, this medical pioneer. You could have shut us up at any time." I gently extracted my hand. "Because proving you wrong wouldn't have made me a better surgeon. Every minute I might have spent defending myself was a minute I could spend improving my skills, learning new techniques, saving more lives. But we were so cruel." "Your cruelty was your choice," I replied. My response to it was mine. I chose to focus on what mattered. My pager buzzed again, more urgently this time. "I need to go," I said. "Another patient needs me." "Wait," Karen called as I turned away. "I found the video of your acceptance speech at the Medical Excellence Awards last month. You thanked everyone, your team, your mentors, even the hospital cafeteria staff. But you never mentioned family." "No," I agreed. "I didn't, because of how we treated you. Because you weren't part of that journey," I said simply. "You weren't there during the endless study sessions in medical school, or the 36-hour residency shifts, or my first solo surgery. You weren't there for any of my achievements or breakthroughs. You were too busy telling everyone I was a failure to notice I was succeeding." The pager buzzed a third time. Dr. Chen appeared at the doorway. "Dr. Roberts, we need you in OR 2. Multiple trauma from a car accident." I nodded. "On my way." I turned back to Karen. "Dad will be monitored closely. I've assigned my best resident to his case, though I'll check his progress personally between surgeries." "Sarah," she called out one last time. Can we ever fix this?" "Us?" I paused at the door. "That depends. Can you accept that the sister you dismissed as stupid and incompetent is actually one of the most respected neurosurgeons in the world? Can you acknowledge that you were completely wrong about me, not just today, but for the past decade?" She nodded tearfully. "Then maybe we can start there," I said. "But right now, I have another life to save." That's what us gift shop workers do, after all. As I hurried toward the OR, I could hear Karen's muffled sobs behind me. Maybe this would be a turning point in our relationship. Maybe not. Either way, it wouldn't affect my performance in surgery, my research, or my career. Success, I'd learned, doesn't require anyone's approval or understanding. Sometimes it just requires silence, focus, and the willingness to let people's assumptions about you become their problem, not yours. Besides, I thought as I approached the OR, minds are like parachutes. They only function when open. And today, I'd opened more than just my father's skull.